Hi, my name's Eric Anzalone, and this is What Matters Most. Today we're coming to you from the lovely Bella Villa Romano in New Hope, Pennsylvania. And thanks to Susan Duvall's seminars, we're speaking with world-renowned psychic mediums Kit and Natalie Mitchell. Now in 2009, Kit and Natalie met in England at Arthur Findlay College, the world's foremost college for the advancement of spiritualism and psychic sciences. And since then, the two, who are married, have been virtually inseparable. First, working in countless metaphysical and spiritualist churches across the United Kingdom, and then moving to the United States in 2012, they continue to perform divine rituals, offer private and gallery readings, which we're going to experience later in the show, and they teach and offer workshops across the United States. So andiamo. Let's go find Kit and Natalie. So now we're inside here next to this lovely fire in the fantastic home of Caterina Gorioso. Grazie, grazie. And look who we have here. It's Natalie and Kit.
Hi.
How you doing?
Pleased to meet you.
How you going?
Nice to meet you.
All right, good. So let's just get right into it.
Okay.
In 2004, Kit, that's when you began your journey into the spirit world. I mean, you didn't die and come back,
No.
let's say that.
I started it a while before then.
But there was something that happened in
There was
2004?
something that happened. Most of my life, I saw this as a bit of a curse because I was never able to live my life how I wanted to live it. And forever hearing voices telling me, no, don't do that. And it was like my life wasn't my own.
Were you ever concerned that maybe you're a little
Yes.
crazy?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Regularly. When we first met, well, not when we first met, this was after we moved in together, after we'd known each other for quite a while. She came into the shower one day, I'm stood there talking to myself in the shower.
I walked into the bathroom, I said, "Are you talking to me?" And he said, "No, I'm talking to somebody else." And the scary thing was, I walked out of the bathroom and I was like, "Oh, okay," and realized at that moment my life had completely changed.
Well, perfect segue.
Yeah,
So Natalie, now you left the corporate world behind.
Yeah.
And when you entered into your spiritual, or I guess accepted your spiritual gifts, right? Or
Yeah, well, what happened for me, I think has happened to a few people that I know, which is stuff starts shifting your life. Divorce, things change, stuff happens. And I had a very pivotal moment. I had gotten off of a phone call that I was really upset about and literally dropped to my knees and said, "Dear Lord, if you take away this pain, I'll do what I'm supposed to do here. I promise I'll do whatever it is that you want that I was supposed to come here and do." And instantly it was gone. And I remember thinking, uh-oh, because it was gone. And then I had a flash of something that would happen the next morning at 10:30, and I kind of brushed it away like most people do when they have those. And sure enough, the next morning at 10:30, when I realized someone had come over to my desk and the exact scene played out in front of me, and I looked at the clock and it said 10:30, I thought, "Oh Lord, I wonder what this means now." And it was pretty much at that point I realized I had to start doing some other stuff. I had a reading from someone who said that I had the ability to do some of this, but I think most of us, you don't really believe it until you really start working, and then once you accept it, then you realize there's a responsibility that goes with it.
Yeah, and you draw portraits.
Yeah, that really came as a surprise because I kind of doodled when I was a kid, and I draw flowers, and but never faces. And when I was studying at Arthur Findlay College one day, they said get up and take a pastel and start drawing, and somehow people ask me if I actually see it, and then draw, do I see the person and I draw it, and I don't. For me, I'm like almost tracing it. It kind of comes off the page at me. And so I just literally let the pencil kind of go where it goes, and then faces appear. And sometimes, just so you know, sometimes I actually draw people who are still here. A lot of times right now I draw people who have passed over.
Well, how do you know the difference? How do you know if they're here or not here?
Because the look on the person's face when I show them the picture is normally the giveaway. Like, oh my God, that's, I just
Is
left
that a bad
person.
sign though? Like they're going to be gone soon?
No, not at all. And that's, I think, their fear. That's not a problem at all. Normally what's happening at that point is that the person who I have drawn is usually in the need of some help, and there's a message that they need to be given. I've never had it. I mean, obviously, I'm sure I would have heard, but I've never had that where that was the issue.
There was an instance where she drew somebody in England, and the person was actually still alive in Australia.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So, and that was this lady needed help in Australia, and all the family were here in England. So they got in contact with her the next day, and they found out that she did need help.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those are those really cool moments when you do this work where you think.
And when you change people's lives, you
Of course.
actually
Well, I would
get that.
imagine that's why you have this gift. If you want to look at the big picture, the Creator, Mother Universe, whatever you want to call it, has individuals like yourselves that have these gifts that help other people. It's just all of, being connected. It's just another form
and
of being
in a sense,
connected.
we chose this life. You know, if you look at the contracts that we draw, some people say it's contracts, some say that we actually choose this life before we come here to make these decisions, to help people in this way, to actually live these gifts and have these gifts so we can actually forward mankind in some kind of way. Even if it's just helping somebody, if you just touch one person, to let them know that their relatives are still alive, that they have passed over into the spirit world, but they're still alive. They're more alive than us, generally, but they're over there in the spirit world.
I think a lot of people have a lot of gifts, and I want most people to understand that it doesn't have to come out this way. And that's the thing that most people don't understand. They always want it to be a certain way, but I think a lot of us have the ability to see, feel, and hear things.
So exactly how do each of you receive the information?
Do you want to go?
Natalie?
I am predominantly clairvoyant and more clairsentient, so I tend to see. So if I'm giving someone a reading, a lot of times what we'll say is my third eye or in my imagination, I can see somebody. I usually see them standing beside them, and it's just, I don't physically see them. It's not like I'm looking at you. What happens is I see them, and then I start to feel like their personality and who they are. And actually, the thing is we do work very differently.
I have what's known as a clair-knowing. I open my mouth, and out it pops, basically. But I see pictures, I see lots of little hints, I have signs, I work with signs. If I start doing this, I know somebody has diabetes or there's a diabetes connection in the family. I have pains in my knees, in my chest, head. It's all about evidence for me. And for me as an evidential medium, it's about proving with illnesses, with connections to bodies, sometimes with clothes. They'll put different clothes on me. They'll show me rings. If I've got a ring, if somebody starts doing this, I know somebody's been left a ring. So there's lots of little bits of evidence that I work with. I've been working with them for so long now that I sort of have lots of signs that I work on and call on. So
Do you ever feel something that is absolutely profound that you've never felt before? Does that ever happen where you're just astonished at maybe like a severe pain that you're feeling, or
yes. Yes.
Does that ever frighten you? Like you think,
it doesn't frighten me, but
am I really having a heart attack, or is this being manifested?
Sometimes when it happens to me, it's like, and the person that I'm with says yes. If I've not had that illness before, there's a big thing that switches on in me. I get what we call goosebumps. Our students that we work with, they look for these moments of having the goosebumps, because they're very, very important moments that that your gifts are working, that the evidence is coming together. And when I've talked about somebody's illness in that way, it's still amazing. I still get amazed for the years that I've been doing this, that I still get so many things right. When I get them wrong, I'm quite happy to say I'm wrong. Because sometimes as we all have filters and it all works in a certain way. And if I get it wrong, I'm quite happy to say, okay, so I must have misheard that, or I got it wrong, and I will admit it. I don't try and make it fit anywhere. It's not what I do.
Do the spirits, when they communicate, thank you, so they have the ability to see the future?
Okay, so the first thing we say to people usually when they're having a mediumistic reading, because people need to understand that there are psychic readings and then there are mediumistic readings. A mediumistic reading, if you're going to go for one, really has more to do about evidence. It's proving that there is life after death. And it's also, a lot of times, it works around comforting people who have lost someone they love. The point of a mediumistic reading is not to find out the lottery numbers. Or whether,
exactly.
whether the guy you're dating right now is the right one. Reading should provide people validation for things they already know.
This life is about free will. It's about us making choices. Our readings are about helping people to find themselves, to make life choices themselves. Psychic readings are great. You know, we all want to have a psychic reading, but you know, this life is your life. Live your life. Don't have a psychic or a medium tell you how to live your life. Live your life. If you want counselling, go and get counselling. But live your life. It's your life. Enjoy it.
When you're communicating with the spirits and guides, how do you tell them, all right, that's it? How do you cut them off? Or sometimes they just keep going and you're like, okay, I can't.
This was one of, you know, the first question you asked me about when I made the agreement to start back with. It's about boundaries. It's about control. Some people come to me and the first thing that they're having done to them by spirit is they're being woken up between 1:30 and 4:30 in the morning.
Cheeky spirits.
Yes, yeah. This is what they do. They're letting you know that they're around you. So to me, that happened to me, and it was like I had to take control. You take control. It's about control. It's about setting proper boundaries.
Then what are the signs? I mean, you kind of answered part of the question, where the signs that they're actually around us. I mean, if they're jabbing you in the middle of the night or talking, yeah. But are there other signs, like maybe, you know, something physical, like maybe the way a light is, or maybe the power going off? Or?
Well, there's a lot of different signs, and people will see things differently. I mean, some people will have power issues. Some people will feel them. You'll sense that somebody else is in the room. Your dog starts growling at nothing in the corner. There's a lot of ways that they show themselves, and especially in the middle of the night. But you have to set the boundary to say, you know, I'm not working now, or I will happily talk to you tomorrow, but not now, because this is my time, and you have to remember, and this is my time to be. I love Lisa Williams. She actually used to put a hat on, and that was her signal to say, I'm done working, that's it. I put my hat on, I'm done working. And it sounds funny, but the truth is, it was a good boundary. I mean, and that's boundaries in life in general we should be setting, but for spirit, it can get tough. And you have to set boundaries within even when we're working, right? I feel a lot, and so there are times where it becomes overwhelming. And we have a lot of students, especially newer ones, when that initial rush of a feeling is too intense, and you have to have the ability to say, take that off, because they're coming in close and they're putting it on you because they want you to be able to communicate that, but there's also a point they have to realize it's too much. And so you have to have the ability to step away from that and tell them that they cannot do that to you.
Okay, so now you've recognized that they're there, you see the signs. How do you teach your students to develop those skills? Or is it something you have to be born with?
Everyone has a gift. Everyone is intuitive. Everyone is psychic. There is no doubt about it. It's whether or not we choose to actually pay attention. And if people are willing to spend the time to develop, because it takes time. You have to sit, you have to be focused. And there's a huge responsibility with this work that no one ever really seems to talk about, which is the fact that people will look to you for a lot of comfort, and they look to you for answers. And there's a lot of responsibility with that. And so we ask everybody who comes in, like, why do you want to be here? Because if this is a parlor trick for you,
if it's a party trick you're going to use at Christmas,
we don't.
Forget it.
Not,
We're not interested.
Because there's a responsibility.
There is a responsibility. You're dealing with people's emotions.
Yeah.
You know, you can get somebody in that's lost their mother recently, or a child. They're the worst. You know, they've lost a child, and you've got to deal with their emotions within your emotions and deal with all this evidence that's coming through.
Absolutely.
And it's about giving them the proof that that person exists and has gone on to live, and that they are still around them.
Let's take a look at a reading that you did for me earlier, and the incredible drawing that Natalie did. Wow. And I'm still, the words you were saying, yes, and you'll understand that when you see that. And then we're going to take a look at the gallery reading that you've done for the people that have come out to Caterina's lovely house here.
Okay, so I have a gentleman standing behind you.
Yes.
He's a little bit taller than me. Okay, I feel like there's a grandfather figure standing in the spirit world connected to you. In England, I would say he was built like a brick toilet, okay? There is a ruder word to it, but I'm not going to say it, okay? But he also comes through with a lot of a sense of humour connected to him, okay? As I'm standing here, I'm feeling like I've got pain up here in the top of my shoulder here. And he's also making me aware of the back of my head is hurting connected to him as well. And he's also giving me back pain. And my knees are hurting as well. I just feel like this gentleman had a bit of an illness before he passed. I'm just saying a bit of an illness. It was a bit more than that, okay? Because I felt that this gentleman sort of withered away, and I felt that he struggled to sort of stand and sort of keep himself going in the end. And I feel that along with all this is that there's an apology that he wasn't there to see all of your success. Okay, this gentleman wanted to see everything of your success. He wanted to be a major part of it, okay? I felt that he was the driving force behind you. There's a lady that's pushing him out the way. She wants to come through at the moment, and I feel like he actually pushed her out the way for the first time ever. I also feel that with the lady as well, there's a problem with my throat, and I feel like she's swallowing water, and it feels like she can't get enough water, and then I keep going dry, and I feel that there's either a cancer connection to it or there's an illness here that really hurt her, okay? And I feel it moved through her body, and I feel like there was 2 or 3 things wrong with this lady before she passed into the spirit world, okay? Do you understand this?
We call him, my grandfather, Big Dad.
Yeah.
That's what I never called him Grandpa, or I called him Big Dad. And yeah, he was falling apart towards the end. His knees, he couldn't walk.
Yeah, my knees just keep doing that as I'm
Yep.
standing there. They're really hurting.
And my grandmother, yeah, she had all sorts of stuff going on with her, but towards the end, she'd had so many strokes, she couldn't really swallow, and she was so palsied and everything. Yeah. And she was just kind of exactly how you described. Even though he was Big Dad, you knew she was in charge, just quietly in the background.
Yeah, she was definitely in charge, and it's like she was going, "I'll let you do it this time," because I feel that his relationship with you was just really special.
Right.
I just have to get up for a second because he's moved in so close. So the thing about him is, when I started drawing him, it doesn't normally work that way for me. Normally what happens is I start drawing, and then it takes me a while because I'm in one kind of place, and then it comes in another. For some reason, I started drawing him, and he was pretty much standing with you. It's that kind of thing that you took him kind of with you on your journey. Like, you took him with you, and that was cool, because not everybody would have done that.
Right.
Like, and that's what part of what he's here to say. Thanks, because of that let him have experiences that he would have never had, especially because he left far sooner than he should have.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
And I know, because I really feel like there must have been at some point, though, I can't tell yet how he passed, but I'm having trouble kind of breathing. So at some point, he must have had a kind of sense going on, because that's what I'm feeling. And there was a hard time getting it out, getting the words out and saying things. What I want to leave with you about him is more about the fact that just cherish those kind of memories. And occasionally you feel him, because sometimes you do some of the goofiest things, and it completely reminds you of the stuff you used to do with him. That's kind of his influence. He still has a way energetically of touching you like that.
I also feel that your grandfather are talking about that your spiritual gifts, because I feel that their religion was here. A lot of people in the olden days had religion banged into them in the churches, okay? But I felt that these had the religion here, okay? They knew what this was all about. It's almost like they had a connection with nature, and they understood what life was about. And they're talking about your spirituality is going to completely change. I'm going to tell you this. I feel there's a book in you, okay? And I feel with these productions that you do, all these spiritual meetings that you have, is write a book about it, okay? That's what she's talking about, okay? But I think that you should do that. I'm being told to tell you that the purple is very right for you. Very right, okay? I feel that everybody around you is getting really ready, okay? You know what I'm talking about. You don't need me to tell you, okay?
Right.
Because they're talking about you being really ready to go. So let's get your shoes on, get your skates on, let's get on with it. I felt this lady had quite a lot of gifts, because I felt that this lady could do all sorts of different things. She didn't let on all the things that she could do, but I'm seeing her do tea leaves, I'm seeing her do lots of things like that. She had a BS detector that was a mile wide, okay? Would you understand that? You couldn't get around this lady. If you tried, you couldn't get around her, because she knew, okay? She knew everything. She knows everything about everybody, and she knows about you. And she's saying that you have got her gifts and you are to use them. I know that this is a gift that you've had and you've needed to explore for a long time, okay? But like me, you kept saying no. And that's what I feel that's happened with you. You've wanted to go and do things, but there's been a big venture, a big adventure coming your way. And it's this. Don't say no, because I promise you, you'll be up here one day doing this.
The person that's come through, I feel is either on a mother-grandmother type of link. It's funny because when I started drawing, I kept looking at you and looking at you and looking at you, which is usually means that's where I'm going to, okay? The first overwhelming feeling I had actually when I really started connecting with her was tiredness. There was definitely a tiredness towards the end. This woman would have had curlier hair, and she was tough. Like she was tough. She was a hard worker, and she was tough in the way that's the way she was brought up, and it's just what you did. It was hard going, you know. Initially, I just want to say, like, there were a lot of kids. There was a lot to do. Everybody's got to do it. You just have to do it. It is what it is. You get on with it. When I first drew her face, it was the strength that was in there that kept coming through for me. I feel like she was a taller, probably like 5'5", 5'6". Like I feel like she was taller, maybe even taller than that.
Am I supposed to respond or not?
No, I actually, yes, all we ever want are yes, no, or I don't know, because never feed a medium.
No.
Never,
Okay.
ever feed a medium.
No.
But that's what I'm feeling like her height was about that. No, okay. She's smaller than that? Really? Then you know what? She threw out energy that made her much taller.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Because you wouldn't have messed with her.
No.
You wouldn't have messed with her, which is why I feel like she's taller. I kind of got this, like, get on with it. Make sense?
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna leave that with you. Get on with it. Thank you for working with me. I appreciate it. I'll give you that picture in a minute, okay?
Thank you.
I have a gentleman that wants to come down there, and he just wants to come down and he just wants to hold your hand like this, okay? And he's just telling me you held this gentleman's hand before he passed, and he just wants to come here, and he just wants to let you know. Thank you, okay? I'm not going to go any further with this, okay? But he has a lot of gratefulness from you, okay? Because you helped this gentleman a lot get through his pain and get through passing into the spirit world. And he's desperate to just come and let you know that he's connected still in there with you, okay? He's smiling there, okay? He's just done that to you, okay? And he just says thank you. All right, you okay? Can I come and talk to you afterwards?
Absolutely.
Because I feel that this gentleman just wants to say a few words afterwards, okay?
Thank you.
But he just really, really wanted to do this. It was so important for him to do this to you, okay? I just feel like I've got some information that I don't want to open up in front of the cameras and everybody, okay? Does that make sense to you?
Not yet.
Not yet. Well, it will do, don't worry. I have a gentleman standing there. I feel there's a father figure in the spirit world connecting to you. And he comes in there, and he's just leaning on your shoulder there. I feel like this gentleman wants to put some healing down your back. And I feel that you need this healing at this moment in time, because he just wants to just put this light into you, okay? And he's, okay, that's fine. Okay, thank you. We'll talk to you at the end. Is that okay? Okay, thank you. Okay, we've got a tissue for this lady for me, please. We've just gone through a massive, massive change on this planet last month, in December, should I say, 21st December. The world is starting to change, okay? Spirituality is going to start to change and become a bit more deeper for people, okay? We're all searching for an answer. Everybody's starting to search
Wait,
for
what
things.
changed?
The Mind calendar end.
Oh, that's
The Mind
right.
calendar ended.
That's right.
Did you not do a show on it?
Right, that's right. No, we didn't.
Well, the Mind calendar changed,
But
okay?
that's correct,
But
right.
the Mind calendar ended, and we started a new calendar. So the world is starting to face up to a new challenge, you know?
Okay.
Greed is not going to happen anymore, you know? It's going to be stopped, you know? The world is changing, and people are starting to search for something within themselves. It's no longer about just going to church. It's about, how do I feel about this? How do my emotions feel? It's about my spirituality, your spirituality. The spirit world is trying to get this change to come through. So the more people they can get through to work in this, the more it works for them. Okay, the world needs to change. We need to change to stop hunger. You know, get water sorted for everybody. I know it's an old cliche, but it is true. That's what we're trying to work towards, a better world. And that's what the big change came
Cliches
from.
are cliches for a reason, because
Yes.
that makes sense.
It makes
So,
sense,
Yeah.
yeah. You
Well,
know?
the common thread in our show is what matters most. So we ask
Okay.
all of our guests, what matters most to you? When you move on to the spirit world, what do you want to, what's your lasting impression here?
I want to make sure that basically the people whose lives I have touched are grateful that I touched it, because it was worthwhile. It would sadden me to think if I came into people's lives and it didn't mean anything. So I hope that this lifetime I've been here for a purpose, and whatever that purpose was, that it's seen.
For me,
Yeah.
some of that. I've come here to find my own peace this time. I've come to find my peace after a long, I've searching through my past lives, regression therapy, just looking at myself, where I've come from, and the journey I've made in this life from the age of 7, when my mother passed away and appeared at the bottom of the bed. Frightened me to death. That was when my gifts appeared originally, okay? So then things started to happen to me very strange. But from that age, I've been trying to find my own peace and find myself and to believe in myself. And that's what this life is about for me, is making changes within myself, as well as helping other people. If I can just say to somebody, your grandfather's here, your grandmother's here, they've lived after. That's fantastic if I can prove that for them, if I can help them. But for me, there is another journey, an inner journey that I'm on.
Kit and Natalie Mitchell provide evidence that life and love are everlasting, and confirm that when the journey in our bodies comes to an end, we move back into the spirit world. They are a source of wisdom that brings closure to unfinished business, healings from the past, and guidance for the future. Their gifts of insight remind us once again, the simple things in life are what matter most. Namaste. Thank you both so much.
Derek, it was really nice.
It was.